Namaskar, dear devotees and friends. Today is the Wednesday evening. Usually we study the Panchama Veda, Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. But because the Ramanavami and all the devotees, they are celebrating and observing this Ramanavami is a very holy, the Hindus they consider as a holy day, and this is the time we should try to learn something from the great personality. The God is Sri Ramachandra. Now in India, the two names Sri Ram and Sri Krishna, they're very famous all over. Now Sri Rama is worshipped and Sri Krishna is worshipped not as an avatar but God itself. And what we learn from this Ramachandra, the first avatar, human avatar, so that we will try to understand, and today we will discuss that Purushottam Sri Ramachandra, Sri Ram. Now let us chant as usual about the Sri Rama, and then we will begin the discussion. Yan maya vashavarti vishyamakhilam brahmadi devasura yat sattvad amrishaiva bhati sakalam rajyo yatha he brahmaha yat pada plavamiba bhatihi bhavambodhesti tirshabhatam Bandhoham tamasesha karana param Ramakhyam isham harim. Ramakhyam isham harim bande aham. And tamasesha karanam. These are these four-line words. And the last line, it says Bandhoham tamasesha karanam param. What is the tama? Tama is the end or the last of our this gunas. Sattva, Raja, Tama, the end, last guna. What is that tama? That is inertia and hatred, jealousy, all bad qualities that comes from the tama. And what is the result of that? Suffering. The person who is having the tama guna, he creates problem for others, and then as because of him others are suffering, he himself also suffers. That person also suffers. So bandeham tamasesha karanam. I am worshipping him who is the reason, the cause of stopping this bad flow, bad qualities. I salute the Supreme Lord Hari, known as Rama, the cause of transcending all relative causes, whose mysterious power controls all beings in the world, including Brahma, the Devas and the Asuras, whose substance gives reality to all things, just as the rope does to the snake appearing on it, and whose feet alone before a spiritual aspirant as a boat for crossing the ocean of samsara. Samsara, the mundane world. The Hindus are very much careful to go beyond this samsara. Not only to Swarga, the heaven, but to complete circle of birth and death. They want mukti, liberation. The liberation is the goal of the Hindus, the Buddhists and the Jains. Mukti. And this, who can give? One who is the Supreme Lord, from whom everything has come. So that way they are worshipping Sri Ramachandra. Ramachandra manifested as Rama, but in reality he was the Supreme Brahman. Sometimes some people they think, is it possible? Why not? Because the God is all powerful. If He is all powerful, every religion says God is all powerful. If the God is all powerful, is it not possible for Him to do this? To create Himself as a being? Of course He can do that. So that again and again, and Hindus they believe that whenever the righteousness, the problem comes with the righteousness, immediately that supreme being, that consciousness, which is known as the Vishnu, which is also known as the Brahma, it comes down, it takes the form and helps the human being to once again understand the righteousness. Now, this is according to the Valmiki Ramayana. We follow Valmiki Ramayana. There are many Ramayanas in different Indian communities, in different places, in their own language, they have their own Ramayana. The one Ramayana is very famous, that is our Tulsidasi Ramayana. Tulsidas ji, he was in the central part of India, the northern part of India, and in the local language he wrote the whole Ramayana. It is Ramcharit Manasa. This Ramacharit Manasa, it is Manasa, it is imagination. Tulsidas ji imagined. But what is the basis of that imagination? Wherefrom Tulsidas ji came to know about Sri Ramachandra and the whole story of Ramayana? From Valmiki. The Valmiki, the great sage of our ancient India, and one day, as was his routine, he wanted to go to a river for bathing in the morning so that he can start doing his meditation, etc. Suddenly he saw that a hunter is killed. Two birds were sitting together, a male and a female, and that time the arrow shot the male bird, and the female bird was going on crying and coming down to the body of the male bird, and that was a very pathetic scene in the morning. So immediately from his mouth, that was the first time it says, the Valmiki, automatically these words came out from his mouth. Ma nishada pratishtha tvam. Ma nishada pratistham tvam agama shashyati samaha yat kroncha mithunad ekam badihi kamamohitam. O hunter, why you have killed one of the two kroncha birds, the bird's name, when they were close to each other, forgetful of the surroundings? Because your this cruel act, you will never get appreciation from the human society. So those who are hunters, those who are killing the birds and animals, they never could get the appreciation from the society, human society. The ma nishada pratistham tvam agama shashwati sama. But the eternally shashwati, you will never get appreciation, pratistham. Why? Because you have killed this couple birds. Now Rishi Valmiki was not very happy at all. So he, after bathing, he came back to his own ashrama. Then he performed his regular duties like meditation and worship and all. But that the cry of the bird was still ringing in his mind. So he was sitting sad. And then suddenly there appeared the Brahma. When he was sitting over there and the Brahma came, that this particular style of composition will be known to the world as the sloka. In 2 lines, he expressed the whole thing. So the Brahma came and he inspired him to use this particular composition, which will be known as the sloka, and nowadays we all call it sloka, and he inspired him to write Ramayana. This is the first story. And he was not knowing, Valmiki was not knowing about the Ramayana, Rama. So he was wondering, who is this Rama? But the Brahma said that you must utilize this particular composition, the sloka, to narrate the whole Ramayana. And he said, Yavat sthasyanti giraya saritascha mahitale tavat Ramayana katha lokeshu pacharishyati. As long as there will be the mountains and seas in this world, so long the story of Ramayana will be in the minds of the people. That means that permanently it will be there. So the Ramayana, the beginning of the Ramayana is this. And here we can say that actually the Tulsidas ji Ramayana, it began with the conversation between the Shiva and the Parvati. They're completely imagining the thing, and then the Shiva, he was worshipping Sri Rama, and Rama was wandering as a human in the world. Parvati noticed it and said, how come they are worshipping, you are the Shiva, worshipping a human? Then Shiva told, no, I am not worshipping a human. He is that supreme being in the form of Sri Rama. Like that story goes. That is the beginning of the Tulsidasi Ramayana. It begins with the conversation between the Shiva and Parvati. But that is Ramcharitmanas. But the original Ramayana of the Valmiki begins with a question, and that conversation took place between the two great souls, Valmiki himself and Narada Muni. So we sometimes mix up these stories because it goes in the children's book and different type of, and Valmiki and the the Tulsidas ji and others Ramayana, they get mixed up because of the story. But this Valmiki Ramayana is very particularly asking, the question is also very, very important. We have accepted Sri Ramachandra as God. We worship him as God. He is the very powerful and in many ways. But we have to understand this transformation comes with the qualities. Human is standing as a doorstep of bad and good, the supreme good. Human is a mixture of good and bad. The tendency of bad is heavy, so its mind goes always down towards the senses. Even the moment it becomes 8 years, 10 years, immediately, and nowadays, previously they used to consider 16 years. Now even the 10 years, 12 years, boys and girls also, because of the surroundings and constantly people, they talk about the sex, talk about the body enjoyment, physical enjoyment. So mind always goes to those things, and they think that is the supreme thing. And immature mind, so they do not know. A little pleasure is there because of the senses, they get that enjoyment, physical enjoyment. I think this is good. And ultimately, body and mind get eroded. And they start suffering different type of diseases. Of course, ultimately, the mental suffering, and then they die a very pathetic death. That should not be the goal of human life. That is the reason the God himself, the Creator himself, takes the human form and comes down and helps us to grow. And grow how? Developing qualities. And what are those qualities? Now here we find the Valmiki, he was sitting in the Ravan, our Muni, he was visiting him. And he asked the Muni that and Narada Muni, he came and he was sitting by the side of the Valmiki, and they were discussing. Suddenly, the Valmiki asked Narada. From here begins the Ramayana. Kosmin sampratam loke gunavan kascha viryavan dharmagyascha कृतज्ञश्च सत्यवाक दृढ़व्रतः आत्मवान को जित क्रोधो दुतिमान को नान अनसूयकः कस्य बिभ्यति देवाश्च जात रोषस्य समयुगे. So that is the beginning of the Ramayana, the Adi Parva, the 1 to 4. It says that this is the 4 lines. The Rishi Valmiki asking the Narada, Kos mean who in these Sampratam Loke, the contemporary world at the time of the Valmiki, at the time of the Narada, the Sampratam Loke, Gunavan Kascha Viryavan. Gunavan is a noble and also the Viryavan, the heroic, Dharmagascha, virtuous, Kritagyascha, grateful, Satyavaka, truthful, Dirabrata, honoring one's own place. Dirabrata, whenever he takes the oath, he complete that. Atmavan ko, that's the self-confident. Jita Krodha, who conquers anger. Dutiman, very handsome. Ko anasuyakaha, forgiver of others' fault. Kasya bibhati devascha. But even when he is jataroshas, when he becomes angry, the gods are also afraid of him. O Narada, do you know anyone in this world who is noble, heroic, virtuous, grateful, truthful, firm in his promises, self-confident, courageous, the conqueror of anger, handsome, forgiver of others' fault? Again, when angry, even the gods become afraid of him. And these are the qualities, the long list of qualities. So who is Ramchandra? These are all qualities. Now when we look at Ramchandra, most of us we think, because of we don't know, we don't hear, listen properly, and those who are narrating the story only tell the stories of the conflict between the Rama and Ravana, and they think this is just a war story. Nothing like that. The Rama, he was possessing all these divine qualities. This is the first goal and the teaching of Ramayana. That we must know. When we are remembering Sri Ramachandra, when we are worshipping Sri Ramachandra, we must understand we are worshipping a personality who manifested, the God manifested in that particular personality called Sri Rama, and he was having all these good qualities. And from where this Ramachandra came, this gives the family, who was the father, the mother, and the introduction of the family. And it says Raghu Vamsha. The Raghu Vamsha, Raghu, and his was Dirghabahu, then the Aja and Indumati, and from Aja and Indumati came Dasharatha, Kaushalya, Kaikeyi, and Sumitra. And they said there was the Rama, Lakshmana, Bharat, Shatrughna, and there was another daughter of Dasharatha, Shanta. She was the eldest, so the Didi, the elder sister of Sri Rama. So Shanta. This Raghu, from the Raghu, it comes down to Aja, from Aja to Dasharatha, and from Dasharatha to Rama. So it's called Raghu Vamsha. Vamsha means dynasty, and that is we know in that way. And they were the Ikshaku Vamsha. The family, the root of the family was the Surya Vamsha, Ikshaku Vamsha, and It says that they were ruling Koshala, and Koshala was having the Dravidian present this Andhra, that is called Dravida, Sindhu, there's the Punjab, then Sovira, there's the northern part of Punjab, Saurashtra, the Gujarat, Dakshinapatha, some portion of the South India and southern part of India, Banga, that is Bengal, Anga, the Odisha, Magadha, that's Bihar, and Kashi, that means UP, Uttar Pradesh. This was almost the major part of India that was called Koshala. This Koshala kingdom is a huge kingdom, we can understand. And the center of the Koshala, or the capital of the Koshala, was Ayodhya. So we always talk about Ayodhya, we mention about Ayodhya. Ayodhya was the capital. But the kingdom that he used to rule was a huge, big one. That we can understand that the northern part of the Punjab and the Andhra, that the down south, then afterwards come to the east in Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, and to the west it is Gujarat. Almost the whole India he was covering. He was a huge king, and he was having one advisor. In those days, that as we call check and balance, it is necessary. In those days, the check and balance in the administration was the guru should be there, a king and his guru. The king was Dasharatha and his guru, he was Vashishta. He was a great soul. Vashishta Muni was a great soul. He was a Brahmagyani, and he used to advise the Dasharatha. Why? Because when you are administering and you are punishing people, and in the human nature naturally, sometimes you don't like that person, without much of his fault you give a lot of punishment, that should be controlled. That is why in the present day, when the president is there, there's a Supreme Court, the check and balance, it is always. The president is doing something, Supreme Court is controlling, and otherwise it's very difficult for the ordinary people to survive. The balance should be there in the administration. In those days, every king was having a guru. The Vashishta was the guru of the Dasharatha or this family. And not only that, the king was having 8 ministers. The head of the minister was Sumantra. We remember that Sumantra was the person who drove the chariot of the Ramachandra. The Sumantra, and he was an economist. So when you talk about the Ramayana, when you talk about the Bhagavata, Sri Ramachandra or the Krishna, you always think of God who lives in the higher region, maybe somewhere in heaven, somewhere in the sky, and that much. And we take some fruits and sweets and give to them there. But actually, that is good, the devotion. But we have to understand, we have to learn from the Ramayana very wonderful basic things that gives us not only the development in the worldly life, also spiritual life. So both we get. He was economist. So we can understand for the growth of the worldly prosperity, they need it. At the same time, the spiritual guidance, so both were there. And he was having 8 the ministers. And these two advised the Dasharatha, and he was a great ruler, this Dasharatha. But unfortunately, the Dasharatha was not having any issue, and though he was having 3 wives, none of them could give him any son. So ultimately, with the advice of his guru, they invited some great rishis, they performed a yajna, and with the power of the mantra, they got from that fire, the holy fire, some porridges that they distributed among the 3 wives, and Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna, these 4 brothers, and it seems that the Didi also was there, the Shanta. So these 4 brothers became very famous afterwards, so we always say the 4 brothers. This is the Ramachandra. Rama is the supreme being, that Vishnu. He is taking the human form. And when he is coming down, he is also dividing, that supreme being dividing himself in 4 parts. Not only that, his Shakti also came in the form of Sita, and also to help him came the Hanumanji. So these are the whole story, because the God is willing to do some Leela, the divine play. So he developed that. The one drop was falling of that divine porridge that was given to the 3 queens, and one drop was falling, a crow took it, that the story goes in that way. And when it was immediately the Indra who was present over there asked the Vayu Devata and told that that crow doesn't know what is it. Take it from the crow and go to a mountain where a very pious lady is praying for one son, give it to her. And that was Hanuman's mother. So Hanuman comes in at the same category of the Vishnu family. Bhagavan Vishnu taking the form of Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna, and Hanumat Sameta. So when the Pranam mantra, you will find that the Hanumans also come in the same category. So this is called Pavanaputra, as because the Pavana, that the air god, carried that. Now, this is the whole story. Now, when the Rishi Valmiki asked Narada, do we have anyone in the present, in our time, someone who is having all these qualities? Then the Narada replied him, and he said, Vishnuna sadrisho biriye. In might, he was like the Vishnu. Somavat priyadarshanaha. And in beauty, he is like the moon. Kalagni sadrisho krodhe. In anger is the doomsday fire. Shamaya prithibhi samaha. And in forgiveness is like the earth. That is, in 4 lines, in 4 qualities, he completed. So this is the way it goes on, and it's a constantly we'll find how these wonderful qualities of Rama, Sri Ramachandra expressed everywhere. You know, this Sri Rama, he was having this, and these wonderful qualities of Sri Rama, as was the system in those days. He went to study with his brothers, and then after the study he came back, and at that time he was only 12 years old. Usually up to 16 one is supposed to be there, but Sri Ramachandra completed his all the courses and then came back in 12 years. In our time also, we saw that double promotion. When a child is very intelligent, he completed his class 1 grade, then he has completed. So they used to give him double promotion instead of 2, that will be admitted in 3 because he can handle those. The Rama perhaps also was very intelligent. He completed that. He came back at the age of 12. And when he came back, he was completely different. At the age of 12, he studied the Veda, and he understood the import of the Veda. That is Tyaga, the giving up everything is the ultimate teaching of the Veda. You cannot enjoy these worldly things at the same time get peace. If you are thinking that you should enjoy the worldly things, the money, the physical comfort and wealth and these, that, then you have to suffer. That is the rule. If you want these worldly things, and you have to suffer, and whatever little enjoyment that you will also get, but enjoyment and suffering will go hand in hand. If you understand these, there is no problem. Sometimes you will be praised, sometimes they will be criticized, sometimes people will take you on their head, sometimes they will throw you at their feet. It goes on if you want worldly thing. And this world is constantly changing, so obviously this thing will also change. But if you can understand this world is constantly changing naturally, it is going to be destroyed someday, it is not permanent. So why should I use my life, my energy for this? Let me try to get the permanent happiness. So this question, and the boy of 12 years, he thought in that way. And he started meditating on that. And slowly, slowly he withdrew from the external world. Now his friends, they were wondering what has happened to him. He is not playing with them, he is not going for hunting. Usually the princes, they were in that way, they used to enjoy. But Rama was not finding any joy anymore in those games. That news reached to his father, Dasharatha. Dasharatha was worried. He thought maybe, as being he is the eldest son, that he wants to become the king at 12 years old. But still, he thought, I will put him in this way that he should be the next king after me. So he'll be happy. So that news also reached to Rama, but Rama didn't like that idea. He refused to come and meet and accept all those. And that was concern for the father Dasharatha. We can imagine any father suddenly observing the change in the son, they will be worried what has happened to him. Then he consulted with their Purohita, and then he told, why don't you call him over here? All the 8 ministers will be there, Vashishta Muni will be there, then it will be better. We'll ask him. So he was called. He came, he bowed down to everyone, and as a respect, and particularly to the Muni, Vashishta, he was their family guru, and he started asking Vashishta some questions. Those questions and answers, of course, he asked that first question to another, the Rishi, Vishwamitra. The Vishwamitra came for another purpose, different purpose. And we can understand the society. Vishwamitra came and he told the king that in my ashrama, some people are coming and disturbing, so my regular routine is disturbed. I cannot concentrate on my the meditation and the rituals. So please come and punish those people. They are Rakshasas. A group of people, they were there, they were not following the proper way, the traditional religion, and obviously they were not very much respectful for this type of rituals like the yajnas, so they used to disturb. Modern days also we find some of the people who are trying to meditate in some place, they have the ashrama, they don't disturb others, but still there will be some people in the locality, they will come and try to disturb the ashrama. Where we go? We go to the king, we go to the administrator. So they send the police and we complain to the police. Then this is the system. In those days, so Vishwamitra came to the king and reported that you should send your son. Now Vishwamitra particularly asked for Sri Rama. Friends, we have to understand that Vishwamitra himself was a great power, having this, not only the military training he was having. It is this Vishwamitra who taught all these military secrets to the Rama and gave him the very powerful weapons. And not only that, it is Vishwamitra who introduced him with the local condition. And in the whole Ramayana, if you read, he was introducing Rama. So look at this place. Now it is deserted. A few years before, there was a lot of people, the beautiful, the neighborhood was here. But some bad people came, they tortured them and killed and looted and they put all them into fire. Everything now you can see, the trees are burned, no life is here. Why? Because being a king, you people could not protect them. This is your duty to come. They are in the far places, but they are in your country. You are ruling this country. So you have to have this concern for these people, far away people inside the jungle. If they are suffering, let them suffer. That should not be attitude of the king, the ruler. They should be more concerned because those people do not know how to protect themselves. You should go over there, develop their education and the economy, and then protect them and make them in such a way so that they can help themselves. That is the duty of the king. So Vishwamitra afterwards taught all this to Sri Rama. Friends, if we look to the Ramayana from these angles, we will learn a lot from Sri Ramachandra. Otherwise, Sri Ramachandra is a king, a god, and he stopped the ocean and all these mythological stories, funny stories, and it is nothing like that. It's very, very practical type. The more we think about something that's supernatural, then that is only possible for Rama. Why supernatural? That is possible. So we see over here, the Vishwamitra came, he reported that you should send someone to protect my yajna, special yajna I am going to organize, send Sri Rama. Dasharatha told, so that why Rama? I will send some of my soldiers. If you want, I myself will go. But Vishwamitra was insisting that Rama should go. Why? He knew what is going to happen. Because they could see the future. They could see the past and they could see the future, and they knew who is this Ramachandra. Obviously, these rishis were great, and that is why they come, and not that everyone just wearing a gerua clad and having the long beard and matted hair. No, not that. A very special type of power, these people. So Vishwamitra was a great personality, and he came and he told that. Before that, there was a conversation. This Ramachandra, he asked a question to Vishwamitra. Can you please tell me, why should I act like a king? Why should I do this? Why should I perform all these responsibilities? This world is temporary. Then why should I do this? Then obviously, Vishwamitra told, my son, I can give the answer, but that is not the procedure. You must ask your family guru. Your family guru should explain it to you. And Vishwamitra was present. Dasharatha was there. All other ministers and all the family members were also present. There was a great debate between the Vishwamitra, Vashishta and Sri Ramachandra took place. And when the Guru Vashishta and Ramachandra, that conversation, Yoga Vashishta, there's a separate book is there, Yoga Vashishta, and based on the supreme Vedanta, highest Vedanta. Those who are studying the Vedanta, they must study the Yoga Vashishta. A few months before, I think, we have completed a Yoga Vashishta discourse. In the Sunday discourses, we used to study the Yoga Vashishta. Not every verse is a huge book, but only some of the special references and discussion on the Vedanta. Sri Ramachandra was versed in Vedanta. That is the first criteria. If you have to become a spiritual personality, or if you like to be a great personality in India, then the first and foremost thing you should know the Dharma. And what is the Dharma? Dharma is ultimate truth that only Brahman exists, Supreme Being exists, and nothing else. But to reach to that Supreme Being, I must perform my own responsibility. I should take care of my own responsibility. So Vasishtha was going on telling Rama that this, and he said, Rama, ultimate thing is, you must control your mind. And if you can control your mind, then you are the conqueror. Anywhere, in any place, you can do whatever you like. The supreme power that the Rama showed afterwards, he was controlling the ocean. He was controlling many things. How? Because he controlled his own mind and he got the tremendous power. The basic is that we have to control our own mind. Inside the mind there are two flows always. One good and one is bad. What is bad? Those thoughts which takes us down towards the earth. And these worldly things are only 5. Rupa, Rasa, Shabda, Sparsha, Gandha, as they call it Sanskrit. That there will be form will be there, taste will be there, Rupa, Rasa, the sound, Shabda will be there, smell will be there, and like that, these 5. And our eye and the ear, the nose, the tongue, and the skin that enjoys those. You have to control that, first thing. Then you have to perform your own duty. What is your duty? Kshatriya Dharma. You are a king, so you must show your valor, you must show your power. And as because you are powerful physically, and you are having not only your own physical power, but also the manpower. You are having so many soldiers. And the kingdom is at your back. You must have the tremendous control on your mind and to forgive others. So anyone may come forward and oppose you. Doesn't mean that you have to kill him, punish him, put him in the jail. No. You should try to understand his mind. Why he is opposing? What is the problem? Then you should also solve that problem. This is the way they got the training. Rama was a great king. Why? Because he had the proper training. He understood what a king should do, perform. Then the responsibility as a son, responsibility as brother, responsibility as a husband, responsibility as a student. So all these different times at different role in your life, whatever is coming, you should perform that perfectly. Those responsibilities are very, very important. If we perform those responsibilities perfectly and at the same time without much attachment, then a tranquility will come in your mind. And that is called santosha, satisfaction. That tranquility is realization. In the whole Ramayana, we find Rama is behaving like a very ordinary person. The great rishis like Shutikshna and Sharabhanga, the different rishis he met, and when he went to the exile, they all could recognize him, but didn't disclose it. Why? People were not ready to accept that God has come and has taken the human form. That's why they say afterwards it is known as Maryada Purushottama Ramachandra. Purusha Uttama. Now when you say the word Purusha, Purusha means the literal meaning is in English male. Purusha, male. But it is not male or female. It is that consciousness which is residing inside the heart of everyone. That is Pura Sthita Purusha. Uttama is the highest. Now every individual having the reflection of that pure consciousness, and that sum total is known as Purushottama, unaffected by anything. The Sri Ramachandra is considered as the Purushottama Sri Rama. Sri Rama at the age of 12, he then went out. He and always like a shadow, he has his brother Lakshmana. Bharata and Shatrughna, that Lakshmana and Shatrughna, they were from the same mother, and these two brothers, they divided themselves to serve two other brothers. One, the Lakshmana, always with the Rama. So Rama Lakshmana, we always say like that. And Bharata Shatrughna. Shatrughna used to love Bharata. He was a great character too. The Rama and Lakshmana went with the Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra taught them the geography. So look at it. You are going to be the king of this country. This is your country. And look to these people. You are thinking that everybody is happy. So this is the. Then he introduced with the sociology. Different type of peoples are living. Varieties of people. So, and there we come to know that in India there are so many varieties of people used to live already over there. And they were having their own civilization, own culture. And slowly, they were moving, in one morning, he asked Sri Rama, Rama, get up and go and bathe in the river and come to me. We can imagine a boy of 12 only. So he got up and went and bathed and came back. Then he initiated him. Initiation is also necessary, because unless and until you have, Rama was God himself, but even then he was initiated. Sri Ramakrishna was God himself. Even then he got the initiation. Why? That is the tradition. Guru Parampara. And this Guru Parampara is a really very respected thing. And this, the Guru Parampara, he became the disciple of not Vasishtha but Vishwamitra. And Vishwamitra, he was a Kshatriya, and from there he became the Brahmana. His power was much more. He gave the mantra to Rama, and not only that, he trained him how to use the weapons and how to, that all these military techniques, the secrets, all these things he trained up. So Vishwamitra gave him the idea of the geography, sociology, and also economy. How a king should earn money and spend money. When the king is spending money, it should always be for the betterment of the subjects, the prajas. Why? The moment the prajas, the subjects, are developing economy, the tax will come back to the king. Again the king spending money for further development. Again those people in the society, they are becoming richer, they are earning more and paying more in the taxes. A king again, so like that only, each and every one in the country will be happy. Along with the education, economy should develop. Not that the king will go on giving them some food and they will be sitting hungry waiting for the food supplied by the king. Where from the king will supply? Who is going to earn? So one should not make the others beggars. That should not be. You have to earn, but I will help you. So all these things, when he going on, he was teaching him. It is not clearly written, but when he was introducing, we could understand he was teaching him each and everything. Then there are people like the Vishwamitras, Vasishthas, and the Ashramites, gurus. They should be protected. Why? Because they are meditating and developing knowledge. Knowledge is power for the human society. Researches should continue. For the lot of protection should be given for the research. Apparently, we see they don't do anything. They're sitting over here and before the computer or doing this. We don't see that as the people they are growing the paddies. We can see they're physically they're working. Other people who are researching only sitting in the library, writing something, and most of the time sitting in one place. No, they are actually thinking. So government should know, the king should know that I should give the protection. Whatever they need, I should provide. So he took him, Vishwamitra took him and gave all these teachings to Sri Rama, and Rama became a matured person. And after that, Vishwamitra, when he was traveling, he came to the kingdom of Janaka. The Janaka was also a very powerful king, and in the Janaka, they were arranging that a daughter should be married, etc. But there was a promise of the King Janaka. That shows the fathers were very happy when they have the daughters. Friends, we have to remember, India was economically well off in those days and well protected. So the girls were completely free. They also used to go to the Guru Grihat for education. And much afterwards, only this type of putting the girls behind the curtain and no education for them, all this came much afterwards. So obviously the parents, particularly the father, is to feel proud that I have a daughter, and they call the Kanya Ratna. Ratna means is a jewel, and I like to give it to someone who is really capable of protecting her. So in those days, the Kshatriya, so he got a bow, a Hara Dhanu, from the Hara means the Shiva, and it was a strong, very strong. Most of you have seen, the bow, and that particular portion of the wood is very strong. Now you have to, someone who is having tremendous strength in the hand and also in the leg, and putting one side, holding that and bringing down another portion, then only you can tie the string that becomes a bow. And he said, if anyone can do this, I will offer my daughter to him. So it was done in that way. But afterwards, Sri Ramachandra came. No one could actually do that. But when the Ramachandra came, he said, well, let me try. And very easily he did that. And they got married. The news went to the Rama's father Dasharatha, and Dasharatha also came over there with all his queens. So we can understand, then everybody was happy that the Rama is getting married. And when Rama was getting married, then they said, hey, you have other daughters also, why don't you give it to the other brothers? So kings were having two daughters. The Sita was married to Rama, and his then sister was married to Lakshmana. And this king was having two brothers, and these two brothers were having one daughter. So these two were married to Bharata and Shatrughna. All the four brothers, they married the four daughters of the same family, and they were very happy, and they were coming back. When they were coming back, suddenly they met another person, a famous, and he was also considered in the Hinduism as an avatara. And his goal was to punish those Kshatriya kings who were not following the tradition of check and balance. When the kings, they become more powerful, they don't like to listen to anyone, and they become ruthless. They think whatever they do, that is all right. And slowly, they self-hypnotize themselves. That is a terrible condition. A man is having all power. Now he is self-hypnotized. He is thinking, I am the superpower. Whatever I think, I say, I do are all perfect. You can imagine the terrible condition. He is the ruler and he is not having the balance. Then what will happen? So that's why when that was happening all around, Purushottam, he vows that, he took the vow that I am going to punish these people. So he developed a very ferocious the followers, and he used to attack those kings and kingdoms, those who were not listening or following the rules of check and balance. So sometimes they say Parashuram killed all the Kshatriyas. No, that is not true. That exaggeration. When you say, oh, he is so powerful, not like that. Parashuram killed only those people. I don't have the list, I do not know. But he created a terror in that society, that if you are not following the rule, the traditional rule of check and balance, if you are not listening to the Brahmana, if you are not listening to your guru, then you will be punished by the Parashurama. So naturally the kings were afraid, and Parashurama's symbol was used to carry his own. And this Parashurama came to know that another very powerful Kshatriya, Parashurama was a Brahmana, he was a Kshatriya, he has broke that Haradhanu. Now what will happen if this powerful person become the ruler? So he came to meet Sri Ramachandra. The moment he came, he was also a yogi. He saw it is Rama, actually the Lord Vishnu. And he said, I have done my job. Now it is yours to do. So, not that the Parashurama was punished by Rama. Of course, Sri Ramachandra told, you have insulted me, and as a Kshatriya, I am supposed to challenge you, that you must accept my challenge. What should I do? Shall I kill you, or shall I make you? As a Brahmana, I am not going to kill you, but I will cut your legs so that you cannot move. Then he said, okay, you need not to do anything. Please bless me so that I go away from here and I do my tapasya. I have done my duty, now it is all yours. So Rama and Parashurama, Rama took up the metal from the Parashurama. This is Ramachandra. Ramachandra punished, that we know that the two particular the things are there. There was a very powerful person, Bali. Rama killed Bali. Some people, they say from in some of the Ramayana, local Ramayana, they said that he was hiding behind a tree, and then from there he shot the Bali. Not like that. Rama challenged Bali, and Bali was fighting with Rama with all might. But in those days, those people were having only the stones and the sticks as their weapon. But Rama was having the advanced weapon of those days, the bow and arrow. So Rama killed Bali with that. So if they were having the wrestling, I do not know. And Rama was not that way trained in wrestling. And Bali was a huge body, very powerful. Rama killed Bali. But what's the reason? Reason was to teach the society that you should not misbehave with your family ladies. The Bali used his brother's wife as his wife. Rama punished him for that. Many of you know. And he supported the Sugriva for that reason. He killed Ravana because he abducted Sita. If Ravana attacked Rama or Lakshmana, as because Lakshmana defaced that Ravana's sister, that could be all right. They could fight man to man. But no, he abducted the Sita. That was not the norms. If you are a hero, why you are using the families and then doing like this? So Rama killed Ravana for that reason, but at the same time, he respected Ravana for his great knowledge. So this we learn from Rama, and ultimately, one thing I should say in the conclusion, when the Bharata went to Rama in that forest and in the exile, and he said, the Rama, please come back. It was the mistake of my mother, but I think mother has already understood it. Or you can punish her. I will never say anything. And because of this, our father passed away. So we are all sorry for that. And I don't have anything. I don't want to take this, the rulership. You should be the ruler. I will act under you. Then Rama told, I have given the word that I should be here for the 14 years. If I break the truth, then the people will also not keep their promises. So those who are the followers of Ramachandra, worshipping Ramachandra, thinking that God Ramachandra, please remember that when you promise something, you must keep it. And that is the teaching of Sri Rama. Raghukula riti sada chali aaye, prana yau baru bachan na jaye. So how we should practice religion? Many people ask. How we should practice religion? But just keeping your vows. When you are marrying, you are taking the vows. Keep those vows. Keep those promises. Protect your wife. And that is the way you can save yourself. Wherever you go, whatever position you take, you are taking the vows. So don't adjust anything with that vows. Out of fear, out of greed, no. Then you are not a religious person or not a human being at all. So if we worship Sri Ramachandra, we should know this. At the age of 12, he left with the Vishwamitra. At the age of 13, he married the beautiful Sita. Next 12 years, they happily lived in Ayodhya. And then 14 years in the exile. At the age of 39, he became the king of the whole Koshala. And next 30 years, 1 month, 10 days, he ruled Ayodhya. And he lived 69 years, 1 month and 20 days. This is the Sri Rama, and we worship Sri Rama because he was the Jitendriya, Samyata, Dhritiman, Buddhiman, Viryavan, Nitigga and Srimans. Thank you, friends. And with these words, I worship Sri Ramachandra and pray to bless us so that we can also develop these wonderful qualities and can make this human life fruitful. Thank you. Let us say Shanti. Om Shanti, 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 Harihi Om.